Thank you for listening to the Real and Raw podcast. For more information, you can find us at inspiringhope.org.au or join the mailing list. Journey with us as we aim to inspire the hope of Jesus from generation to generation. We are praying for you. Have a blessed day.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Not too bad.
I'm just going to call you Gem for this podcast.
Okay.
Gem C.
Yep.
Your special nickname can remain. You have to hang around us a lot more so you can know her special nickname. I'm the only person that calls you that, am I? Or is
No,
it
I think
translated?
that you started to call me that.
Okay.
And then it became something that everyone started calling me.
Yes, I am the giver of all the nicknames
Yes.
in our group. Now we are drinking something. Welcome to the couch.
Oh, thanks.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good.
Excited to be here?
Yes.
Now you brought us a little treat this morning.
I did.
Tell the people.
Yeah, so
Listen carefully. She's got one of those
this is-
crazy coffee orders.
yeah, so this is I did a Starbucks run this morning. Because I kind of killed two birds with one stone. I have a Ridgeback cross with a lab.
Yeah.
And the mornings are basically his time, and he knows that.
Aw.
So I usually take him out for like a dog park or take him to my parents for running around. Or if we can't do either of those, like this morning, we go to Starbucks and he gets a pup cup.
Bless.
The second stone in that killing two birds with one stone is that this is where Jen and I go for our coffee. And this is where we go for our chats, is Starbucks. So
Don't tell them which one, otherwise everyone might turn up to see us.
No. So this is a venti cold brew with 2 pumps of salted caramel, 2 pumps of hazelnut. But if I get the grande, then I take the pumps of the syrups down because it just gets way too sickly otherwise.
Gets too sickly.
Yeah.
And that's the end of our episode, guys.
That's it.
It
That's
took
it.
45 minutes to talk about Gemma's coffee.
That's right.
I like to shout my friends when I meet up with them, but she always has to come to the counter and say her order because I'm like, look, Gem, I just can't remember that. There's too much going on. I've just got hot chocolate.
Yeah.
But this is a large. What size is this?
That's a grande.
My gosh.
I didn't get you a venti because I thought that might make you spew. Having that much hot chocolate in your belly.
No, too much. Just small. Small size is great. Is grande small size? No, tall.
Grande is a medium. A tall is a small.
A tall is a small.
Which is just, I have no idea.
Look, Starbucks, I don't know. You're a very big company. You're not going to listen to me. But small, medium, large is just fine for us here in Australia.
Exactly.
And, you know, every time I go there, I say small, medium and large. And then they always correct me.
I know. They look at you like you got 3 heads.
I know. And I feel so disrespectful. But I'm like, look, I'm getting older. Just help a sister out. So I am so excited to have you here. At the Real and Raw podcast. You are an OG of Inspiring Hope. You have been here since day dot, our very first Doorway to Destiny. It was called Doorway to Destiny. So this was even before, sorry, I've got an itchy eye. This was even before Inspire Girls, Inspire Teens. You were way back at the very first one. And we were standing at the back of the room. And the countdown clock had gone on and nobody knew what they were doing. It was our first run at anything. And you just had your guitar. No, I don't even think we had a plug-in or anything back then.
It was literally just unplugged.
Unplugged, Real and Raw.
Real and Raw.
And you're like, oh, well. And you walked down the front. You started singing. You got those girls. And then the rest is history.
Yeah. That was a really, really special one too.
It was.
Yeah, it was really, really special.
It was. I will never forget those first moments. It was beautiful, and you know, God did something and birthed something in all of us in that weekend. Yeah. So whilst that was very special, we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about you. And you, my friend, are someone that I respect so deeply in the faith. This is one of my armour bearers, but not just an armour bearer. I think we are armour bearers for each other.
Yeah.
And you are someone that I go to for advice. Yes, you heard it here on Real and Raw. I have people that I go to advice. Obviously, my time with the Lord. And at Starbucks over the years, we've had many beautiful conversations, many tears, many laughs, many just, oh boy, I can't believe that we're going to walk through this moments. And so I just want to honour you and thank you for that. And I want to thank you for coming to share your story, because it's a powerful one. And I know that it's going to help many people, inspire many people. So, Jem, we're doing our series Journeys with Jesus, and you have certainly been on a journey with Jesus. So we're going to start in 2015.
Yes.
Tell me about your faith journey in 2015.
Well, 2015 was a massive, massive year. I started, I left full-time work in 2013 and I started Hillsong College, which was an incredible experience. It was very, very busy. And I decided pretty early on that I was going to do 3 years. So that took me to 2015. And one of the requirements for doing your third year at college was you had to intern with staff at Hillsong. But because I was a local, I had the opportunity to approach Hillsong and say, I'm part of Inspiring Hope, and can I please do my internship with my dear friends here? And they said, yeah, that's great. They actually really, really encouraged it. It's one thing that they really, really stood on was their, building of the local church. And so I was doing my internship with Inspiring Hope, and we had our own calendar. And then on top of that, we actually started a church plant at the beginning of 2015.
We did.
And so those three things combined made it a massive year, because there was, just the college journey in itself in a third year was very demanding, and the Hillsong calendar was actually crazy. They actually drew it up for us in one of our creative classes, and they put all of the different events that they do, and it was insane. Like, once we actually all looked at it in this class, we realised just how on the go. And it was in that moment, it's probably halfway through the year, when we were doing our own calendar with Inspiring Hope. Because back then we were actually doing a lot more, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
I think we do a lot bigger events now, but we were doing a lot more. Yeah. Well, and we also had the church.
Yeah, and the church was also, it wasn't just meeting on a Sunday. It was, we were networking as a church, and we were doing all of this other stuff that was required to actually get the grassroots of something off the ground. And so all of those things combined, as well as, my personal life had, stress in it as well, it just made for probably the most overwhelming year that I've ever done, but also the most satisfying, because I got through college and I graduated, and our church.
I remember that.
Yeah. I had a really good turnout with you guys at my graduation, actually.
And we like, you have to scream at the college graduations at Hillsong, and we made sure we screamed.
I heard you guys.
And we had the party, those party
the cannons.
Yeah, we were there. We showed up.
Yeah, it was
for our girl Jem.
Yeah, it was really humbling, actually, the amount of people that showed up for my graduation. And but yeah, so it was just a crazy time. And that really took me, once I'd graduated college, there was a plan. Once, because I finished my internship with Inspiring Hope, I was the first intern.
I was waiting for you to say that. I thought, she's forgotten. I'm gonna have to. So we have to. There's an inside joke. So this year we had some interns start with Inspiring Hope, and I put on Facebook the first interns, and Gemstar was like, I was the first intern, Jeanette.
I was, yeah.
Please amend that. No, she didn't ask me to amend it. But no. Yeah, you have been justified, vilified, gratified, all the fides right now.
That was so much fun though. Like on every Monday I'd go up to Yarramundi and we'd be in the office and so it was
We have a photo, because I want to put photos in the newsletter that comes out. We have a photo. We bought you a bunch of flowers.
Yes.
The best bunch of flowers we could afford.
Yes.
Because we were just starting out, and I think there's you, me and Jess maybe in front of the verse of our year. So I'll dig it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
For the newsletter. Yep. Your first day as interning.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it was such a great experience, and I learnt so much. And I look back on that year, and even though it was really, really busy and crazy, and it'll make more sense why I'm really saying that in the further on. But that took me into 2016. So I graduated from college, and then because I'd finished my internship, we were talking about the next steps of, me coming onto staff, because the church was on its own trajectory and Inspiring Hope was on its own trajectory. And so everything was, I felt like I had finished college after being in full-time work, because I'm really not a corporate world person.
Yeah.
And for a long time when I was in the corporate world, I thought, God, this just isn't where I want to be.
Yeah.
I want to try and be in something else. So once I'd finished college and we were kind of on this trajectory, I felt like, wow, I'm finally doing what I feel like I'm meant to be doing. This is actually amazing. But in March of 2016, everything changed for me. And I'm going to start with a story of driving down to Kiama. So it's very rare if I get a phone call from, my sister went to Kiama to have lunch with a few of our friends, and she always invites me to go and join them. And most of the time I'm just like, oh, don't worry about it. I can't be bothered driving that far or whatever. But this particular day, she went, and then about an hour after she left, I thought, you know what, I think I feel like going for a drive down to Kiama today. But I hadn't driven down to the South Coast in a long time. I usually drive up the Central Coast, so I was much more familiar with the Central Coast. Anyway, I got in my car and I set my GPS, and I missed the turn off to Kiama.
Right.
And I thought, that's fine. I'm just going to allow my GPS to recalculate. And what was meant to be just an extra half hour, 45 minutes turned into like an hour and a half.
Really?
Yeah, it was so bizarre. And I thought, no, that's not right. That can't possibly be right. So I just kept on driving and driving to the next exit. And the GPS wasn't changing. The time wasn't changing. It wasn't budging. It was actually kind of going up 5 minutes and then down 5 minutes and then up 10 minutes and then down 5 minutes. I'm like, what? How can this happen by just missing one turn off?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I kept driving and I got off, and the GPS took me this way to Kiama that I don't even, to this day, I have no idea what way it actually took me. But I took all these different turns, and then I was on someone's farm. And
wow.
Yeah, I was driving through this farmland, and it was telling me that I was still going in the right direction. And then it made me turn down this road that looked like it had a little bit more like, it was a bit more built out. And I kept on driving, and then all of a sudden it turned into this forest that looked like a haunted forest. Like, it was all really tall, dead trees. And I looked this up on the map the other day. I went onto Google Maps to try and figure out where I was, and I still can't figure out. And then 5 minutes after that, I was back on some kind of a main road, but it was like a tropical rainforest.
Wow.
So I'd gone through within the space of maybe 15 minutes, I'd gone through 3 different, completely different terrains, landscapes and terrains. And I eventually got to Kiama, and I was really tired. But they'd ended up having lunch because it had taken me so much longer. But they're like, why don't we just go and have a look at the shops and stuff? So we went into the main street, and we started looking at all the shops, and then it started getting late, and then they decided, why don't we just go to a pub? We'll just go have dinner at a pub. And I thought, okay. I said, but I got really lost on the way here, so can I please follow someone back out? Even though I thought the GPS probably would be okay going out again. But the drive from Kiama to wherever this pub was probably another 20-minute drive or something. And it was right on the water. It was this beautiful pub. And so we went in there and we had dinner. And side note...
You got there?
I got there fine, yeah. But side note, the guy from Two Hands...
Oh, yeah.
You know, one of the little angry guy who does the Oak commercials. Yeah. He was there. I was like going to pick up my food, and he was there at the cutlery drawer. And I'm thinking, it was just really weird. Anyway, I'm thinking this is a really weird day. So then we had dinner, but I had actually parked so much further away. Everyone got spots further up, closer to the pub, and I could only get a spot. And I think everyone had forgotten that I said, can I follow you out? So when we all left, everyone kind of just got in their cars and drove off. And I thought, okay, I'm going to set the GPS. I'm going to set the GPS, and I just need to make it back to the Hume Highway. And if I make it back there, then I'm going to be okay. And I got it, and I got on the freeway. Got on this massive freeway. I'm sure people that live down this way are going to be able to tell me exactly what happened. Exactly what happened, or exactly where I went wrong. But I got on the freeway, and I was driving, and then all of a sudden the freeway got narrower and narrower and narrower. And then I was driving on this tiny little 2-lane road in the middle of some tiny little country town main street. I was perplexed. I could not understand what was going on.
Do you usually have these issues when you drive around?
No.
I think we better just specify that.
No. This is a really weird story to this day. I don't know exactly what happened. And I started to feel all these emotions. I started to feel like I was just really frustrated.
Of course.
I was really tired. And...
do you know what the town was where you ended up?
No. I was really starting to feel all these different emotions, and I was just like, I just want to get home. And in that moment...
Have you entered a time dilation?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'd gone through like the space-time continuum. Yeah. My Google GPS had just, I don't know what happened. But in that moment when I was feeling all of these different emotions, I heard so clearly God say to me, I'm about to take you off-road.
Oh, you've never told me this story.
You have been on a freeway, and you're going in a direction that you feel like is, you know, you feel like you're going somewhere with this particular stretch of road. But I'm about to take you off-road, and I'm about to take you into all of these different terrains and all of these different places. And I had no idea what that actually meant. I was just really stunned by that. And it was one of those things where, was that really true? But it was one of those moments where God had spoken, and I just knew that it was him.
And this was Saturday, right?
This was on the Saturday. So this was Saturday night, the 19th of March, 2016.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second? Hold your thoughts. So you're in the little town. Don't forget.
I'm in this little town.
It's interesting sitting in this seat and doing this journey with, you know, at the moment, you know, all these people in my world who just love and serve Jesus so faithfully. But Gemma, your Gem, she's Gemma. It's all very confusing. There's Jen, Gemma, Jemmy. My sister-in-law's Jenna, Jen. Like, it just, if you're in Inspiring Hope and you say Jen or Gem, someone will turn around and help you.
Someone will, exactly.
There's a million of us. But there's a little pattern developing here, and I have found this to be true in my own life, is when we walk with the Lord, even the very difficult things, which I'm not going to take away from your story, but there's a big shock coming, right? Are not a shock to us.
Yeah.
Like he's warning you. And Gemma wasn't the same story, like with the GPS, but she had a similar moment.
Wow.
The day she found out about Tim's cancer diagnosis. Wow. So here you are saying exactly the same thing in your story. Because the thing I love about God, Gem, is that I love my Saviour because he doesn't love us all the same. Let me finish that thought before you all start jumping down the screen. He loves us uniquely. It's much more powerful.
Yep.
We're not just robots, he's all lined up. He loves us uniquely. And here he is. You've gone from a highway to this little town, and he's loving you uniquely by saying, I'm about to take you off road. I'm just like gobsmacked because I know the rest of the parts of the rest of the story.
Yeah.
So take us from the village.
Yeah, well, this story I don't think I've ever really told anyone.
No.
And so,
Thank you.
Yeah. So I ended up finding my way back through like Hurstville or something. It took me into this weird way home. I eventually found my way to like South Sydney, and I went home that way. And I just thought,
did you get rid of the GPS after this?
Mate, I should have just thrown my phone out the window or something. But I mean, but at the same time, like, it's obviously an orchestrated thing, because I've never ever had anything like that happen to me.
Yeah.
So, but the next day we had church.
Yes.
And I came to church. I was kind of feeling a little bit off that day. And I think that my mum would remember that I mentioned that I wasn't really feeling all that well. But, you know, I was committed to coming and leading our church in worship that night with Dan. Love you, Dan. Miss you. And
we all love Dan.
Yeah, he loved the Hansons.
Favourite.
But I came and I rehearsed with Dan and did the service, and I just wasn't feeling well. And I went home pretty quickly after the service. Usually I hang around and we bump out and everything, and which means pack down the church. And but yeah, I went home really, really quickly. And I ended up collapsing, and my sister came home and found me that night, and I just was really kind of confused. And then the paramedics came to the house and they kind of checked me out, and they're like, we just don't think that there's anything really concerning happening. You can probably just go to sleep, which is what I did. Wow. And so I didn't go to hospital that night. But then I woke up the next morning about 6 a.m. and then I was really confused, and I'd actually lost 6 months of memory. And then I was rushed to hospital that morning, and I ended up going to hospital, and the doctors were baffled, obviously, because someone just presents with that type of a situation. So I went through every single possible test while not having any idea what was going on. They put me through MRIs, CT scans, spinal tap, all of this stuff. And I had a nurse, God love him. He was on duty, but I don't think that he was really all that, like, in the job for very long, because it seemed like he was just trying to impress his...
right.
He was trying to impress the head nurse on duty or the doctors or whatever. And so he made a couple of mistakes, like when he was putting in the IV in my arm, he put a really shallow IV to try and get a really deep vein, and he was like doing all this stuff, and they had to you know, come and say, no, you need to use this is what you need to do. And then when he actually was the person that did my spinal tap, and it was the same thing where he was trying to fix it, but he kind of the reason I'm talking about this was because this is when I actually kind of broke down, because I had all these tests being done and I was holding my own, and I was just like, okay, we just need to find out what's going on. Mum was there with me, and he did the spinal tap on me, but he was obviously didn't know where to find the fluid, and so he started doing the same thing with the needle but on my spine, and I started getting these really burning pains all the way down my leg and up my back and everything. And then the other doctor had to step in, and I thought, okay, I just got to keep it together. And then the other doctor said to someone else, can you just come over here and just mop this spinal fluid off the floor? And I absolutely just broke down at that point.
Oh, gee.
I was really, really upset. But the thing that was actually really beautiful in that moment was a package arrived from Inspiring Hope at the exact same time. Like it had just kind of gotten to this moment where I just broke down and I didn't know what was happening and all this stuff was going on. Doctors coming in and out and asking me all these questions that I couldn't answer, and this package, this, flowers and, some chocolates and a card. That's the thing about this Inspiring Hope ministry. To anyone that's kind of on the peripherals, or you've come to a couple of things, I guarantee you that this is not just special treatment for like an OG. This is a ministry that really honours everybody. And the fact that was delivered so quickly, but you guys found a way to get it to the hospital and get it into the ER, was just, it really
Well, that was your mum.
what I needed.
So I have to intersect with my story now.
Yeah.
So hold off there. And I also want to say, listening to you, it just feels like, not feels like, it's just very apparent that for whatever reason in this 48 hours, there's just this sort of like air of confusion happening, with the GPS.
Yeah.
And I remember that day because I was talking to your mum on the phone constantly.
Yeah.
That's how we knew how to send the flowers
Yeah.
at the hospital. And I remember her saying, oh, she's had this and nothing's coming up, and she's had this. And we're all like, what's going on? What's going on? But on the Sunday night, when your mum had rung, and me and some friends had historically had Sunday nights together at Shani's. Shout out to you, Shani. She makes the most killer chicken bosciola pasta you've ever had in your life. And we were having our Sunday dinner like we always, before we had the church, for years. We did it for 10 or 15 years. And I actually think that it was also our last one before Sean got married. There was just all this stuff happening at that time. And anyway, because, we don't like to do things in small doses, back in our 20s and 30s. We were all in. We're still all in a different way. But the phone rang, and I remember we were having dinner, and it was Mama C, and I'm like, we'll just eat dinner and then I'll call her back. And then she rang a second time. And if someone rings a second time, it's important. I've got to get it. I stood up. So this adds to the confusion now, because this is an unexplainable thing also.
Yeah.
I stand up, and we were sitting around the little coffee table at the Quaker. And I stood up, and as I was walking to the phone, and the phone was on a Bose Docs. For all you young people, you won't know what that is, but we didn't have those boom speakers back then. We had a little dock, it was called, and you'd stick your phone in and it would charge at the same time, and then the music would come out of the speakers. So I go to pick up my phone, and as I'm walking to do that, the coffee table with all the food on it just smashes out of nowhere. It just, this glass coffee table. I mean, I'd had that coffee table for about 10 years by this point,
Yeah.
And it smashes, and I'm just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And so these guys, Sean and Nathan and Shani, are all trying to fix the coffee table. I've walked out the back to talk to your mum, and your mum's like, an ambulance has come. They don't know what's going on. They've told her to go back to bed because I remember that.
Yeah.
And then here we are in Monday.
Yes.
So
yes.
So it's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very interesting.
And I mean, you're right. It was like a 24, 48 hours of just exactly what God had said. It's like he said it, and then it all started to transpire.
Yeah.
And so I stayed in hospital overnight. The tests were coming back inconclusive, and which was really kind of frustrating. But it meant that there was a whole journey that needed to happen. You know, I came out of hospital, and then because there was nothing that was showing up physically, they said, you know, you probably now are on a journey of trying to figure out what's going on, like, psychologically. And so we went to my GP in the middle of going to all these other... It just ended up being a whole year of constant appointments at different places, neurologists, different types of neurologists that would do tests, and I'd have to do these different puzzle tests to figure out how I was thinking and all this type of stuff. But we went to my GP, and he's extremely competent. He's actually from Burma. He's a surgeon. He was a surgeon in Burma, but because he's come to Australia, he doesn't have the same qualifications in Australia, so he's a GP. But he's incredible. And he obviously was extremely concerned when he found out what was going on. And so he then gave me a prognosis. He said, look, we need to test you for a couple of things, and you need to be prepared that the two things that I see as a possibility is either leukemia or MS. And so I came away from that.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, those were two crazy, you know, it's not, it's not like, here's a really bad thing that you could have, and here's something that isn't quite as bad. It's like two really, so that was really scary, and that drive home was really emotional for me and Mum, because Mum, she's incredible. If you know my mum, you would just you just know that she's just an incredible woman, and she was with me every step of the way. And she, you know, she got emotional in that drive home because it was just a really scary thing to think of. So then it was trying to figure out, okay, you have to go to this, 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 all while navigating, you know, that I'd lost 6 months, and people were, you know, like, you were amazing. This is when you were my armor bearer, and but some people didn't know how to approach it. It's like a real elephant in the room type thing of, I don't really know what to do. So then it was like navigating all of those things, and I think I got through all of these different, you know, I had to go get ECG, a whole bunch of other stuff. But then I got to the end of 2016, and I then lost 12 years. So I'd gone from 6 months to 12 years. And that's when we had to look at medication, and I had to go to a psychiatrist.
Yep.
And the psychiatrist, if you ever have to go to a psychiatrist, just make sure that you just take anything that they say with a grain of salt, because they're very, very clinical. This whole journey was extremely clinical, and you felt like you were just a 2 p.m, you know, appointment, but this was your life falling apart in a way. And so they put me on medication because they thought that it was all happening when I was sleeping. So they had to try and slow my brain down. So then I was on medication. I had to take medication to try and slow my brain down, but it just did this really, really crazy stuff to me. Just some of the medication made my skin crawl, and other medications were just made me feel like I wasn't even in my right mind. So I refused it, and that's when I was really anchoring myself to God, and I said, look, I don't know what's going on. This off-road thing that you've said to me is so far off-road that I have no idea. I can't even see the forest for the trees. and I don't know what's happening, but I know that you're good, and that in the midst of everything, what I know about you is true.
Wow, look, that is just so powerful. I don't want you to lose your thought, but I over the years have just sat with people. You know, that's kind of my speciality, to go in when you know the you've been taken off road that can look in different ways, and people are at this extreme low point, which is why I ask every guest the same thing.
Yeah.
And the thing that just inspired me about you is you never ever articulated that, you know, and I won't go into the years because I'll let you share all that. But it was many years. You never said, "Oh, Jen, and I'm sure you had questions like you've just articulated, but you just pushed into God, and there was such a, because, you know, Jem, this is a very unique thing. I've never known anyone else to lose 12 years of memory. Like, 12 years is a very long time.
That was everyone. Like, I didn't know anyone from college. They were all gone. You guys were pretty much all gone, because I've done a lot in 12 years. So it was very significant.
And very unique.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, you know, it's not if you have a pastoral care list of things that you are going to walk through with people, this comes into the off list, the off-road list.
Yeah.
It's a unique thing. And I remember, it might be the time to share this. I remember having a conversation with your mum, because we would talk a lot in that, you know, those first 2 years. And she, in her very mothering, Mama C way, just said, "Look, Jeanette, you know, Jem will always be with us, but I don't know if she's ever going to come back and lead worship." And I think this is the only time I've ever kind of spoken back to your mum, because, you know, I just hold her in such high esteem. And it was more of a denial speaking back. I'm like, no, that's absolutely not going to happen. You know, she will come back. And I had my own, and we don't need to get into all this, but I'd had my own dreams and visions about where you were going to end up.
Yeah.
Praying for you specifically.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I want to say is, your mum also rang me to warn me when I was first visiting you. The 6 months was okay.
Yeah, the 6 months was manageable.
We could all manage that. But the 12 years, and I, of course, want to go and see you. And she's like, she doesn't know who you are. So you have to understand, in her world right now, there is no inspiring hope. It never existed. She's back in the... Thornley Baptist days, or even before that, Parramatta Baptist days?
Yeah, probably Parramatta Baptist.
Yeah, so this is, and I didn't know you from those days, right?
No.
So she's explaining like where you've gone back to, and I remember saying to your mum, I said, "It's okay, Mama C, because Jem and I are friends, but more than that, we're sisters in Christ, and she will recognise me spiritually." And I am confident of that.
Yeah.
And so I will go and I will sit with her, and we will just talk about the things of God, you know?
And I did. Like, I knew that you were familiar and that you were safe, and that that there wasn't anything. There was a real peace that was in that room when we were chatting. And I mean, there were other people that I'd see. I think I was at colour conference and someone said hi to me in a lift, and I just honestly and I felt really bad that particular time, because I thought, oh man, I feel like I'm being really rude to people when I just think, oh gosh. But when we caught up, it did feel very peaceful, and I knew that I knew you. The data wasn't there.
The data wasn't there. But to encourage you during that time, so inspiring. you might have felt that on the inside, but it never reflected on the outside. You just used to simply say, well, it depends on the circumstance,
Yeah.
but if it was a closed room, you would simply just say, oh, unfortunately, I don't remember that. Like,
Yeah.
to remind us all, like, guys, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
And I just remembered, I couldn't, you challenged me in your faith walk, because I thought, Lord, if this was me, I would be chucking such a dummy spit.
Yeah.
And she is just, and I know we all have our moments, but I just remember you leaning in and hanging on for dear life.
Honestly, that's really encouraging to hear, because it's not how it felt. I felt very confused, and I felt like I was really kind of just going within myself in a lot of ways. And I honestly, I have to say how faithful God is in so many different ways. Because even when I didn't understand what was going on, because I'd had such a strong relationship with him up until that point, and he'd gotten me through so many other things, he was just an anchor, and I knew that he was the only one that could kind of get me through that darkness and get me through the different terrains, like the haunted forest and the the tropical rainforest and all those places that it felt like I was going through, like, spiritually. And
He was showing you. He was showing you that day before the different things you were going to.
Yeah, and to this day, to tie it back, I still don't understand how I ended up on that journey to Kiama, but the fact that his voice was at the end of that day, that was really confusing, just in, like, the physical, he was reassuring me and preparing me, and I believe that he will do that for others too. I don't know what you're going through, if there's anything that is confusing in your life, but I do know that he is so faithful, and he has these unique ways and beautiful ways of speaking to us that don't follow any type of map in its own. I think the way God speaks to us, like Jen said, is so unique, and he loves us so uniquely, and he loves you so uniquely. So that's my story of 2015, 2016.
That's part one. So I think that's a good place to start to wind down. I think it's, thank you. I mean, that story of just the GPS, and just, even even going down to, like, when you were just talking about the faithfulness of God, I have just been really challenged by that this year, and the Lord keeps saying to me, Jeanette, because I'm older now, recount my faithfulness, recount the times I've been faithful. It will help you to be sure and steadfast in this. And I don't know, just that whole story, the fact that you even felt like going for that drive.
Yeah, it was, like, so out of character for me to even go there.
Yeah.
So even that was
just from
orchestrated.
That, orchestrated, and that, I love that. Yeah. Everything in our life is orchestrated, and I think when people, don't shrink down God. And think, oh, he doesn't care, and he doesn't care about... No. He cares about every detail. It is orchestrated, and he is moving for his will and his purpose. Yeah. And so here we are at the end of 2016. We're going to continue your story in part 2, but thank you for sharing all of that. And I have just been so greatly inspired and challenged as you've been talking. So thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Well, bless you guys. Make sure you come back for part 2, because we're in the we're halfway through. So this could be like a part 20 series, but we won't wear her out too much. But we're coming back for part 2. So may God bless you and keep you until we are back on this couch again. Bye.
Bye.
We strive to inspire the hope of Jesus by building girls up generation to generation. Our hope is that you are inspired wherever you are in your walk with the Lord and in your life through this content. For additional information, you can find us at inspiringhope.org.au. We pray that you are blessed and encouraged by the Real and Broad podcast hosted by Jeanette Nolan.